Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromebook Classroom. Today, I am really excited to do a little bit of interaction inside of our classrooms with my good friend, Helen. Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm great, Trish. How are you?
I'm excited about this, to be able to jump into some of what we're going to be doing today. And Helen, just for everybody who hasn't had a chance to meet you yet, you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
My name is Helen Emeny, and I am one of 3 ESL consultants for the division. I work mostly with elementary schools, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this strategy with you today. It is just so flexible and a great tool to build some skills in language in your students.
And see, this was making me so excited today because, so first and foremost, you guys all got to have the Oprah moment of giving out the 99 ideas and activities for, let me better my camera, for English language learners. Going through this book, I just thought, this is just darn good teaching and amazing strategies for all of our students. This is a very universal design model. Even though maybe we're targeting really specific SIOP strategies for our English language learners, what we're showing today by no means is limited to just those learners. This is good for all of our kids, right?
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of all the ESL strategies that we share, is that you will recognize them as beneficial for everyone in your classroom.
And so today, even though we're a bit on Teams, we're online as we're doing this, you're really going to be taking us through that SIOP strategy of interaction. And I guess that's my big question. Why is interaction so critical for our English language learners? Before we jump into the tech of this is a little bit of our vegetable on the plate moment. Like, why are we going to do this? What makes it so critically important for those learners?
That is a very good question. One thing that we have learned from a lot of the research is that our students don't have the opportunity to talk enough in class. What a gallery walk can do for us is give you a little bit of intentional, structured conversation and interaction between your students in the classroom. And as we know, our students learn a lot from us, but they can sometimes learn even more from working with their peers. So it's a beautiful, safe way for students to take some of those initial steps to practice speaking English and hearing themselves speak English, and just very enjoyable and engaging for all the students in the room.
And that's such a great point, because I think sometimes we can think of interaction in the classroom. It's always that hand up moment where that's the interaction, which can be so terrifying. It's terrifying for me in class, I know, but that small group opportunity with peers, I think could really create that. Now, you put some things together today to help us. You have this amazing presentation, which, by the way, anybody watching, it will be included below this video. Helen is sharing all the goodies with us. And so why don't you take us through a little bit of what you have?
Sure. So the gallery walk, if you do have the book, is on pages 134 and 135. And I wanted to take a minute here just to share some of these different components of the SIOP model, which is the base framework that we put all our ESL strategies and best practices into. And so today we're really focusing on that number 5 component, which is interaction. And so as you're working through this in your classroom, the important thing for you to remember is there really isn't one right or wrong way to do any of it. These will be some suggestions for you to use in your classroom, and the greatest thing about it is that you can use it anytime in any subject area.
Ooh, love that.
So very flexible strategy for sure. So what is a gallery walk? Gallery walk is just this, viewing other people's interpretations about a given topic, and then having the opportunity to discuss or compare your perceptions or your reactions to the other people in your class.
So it's definitely more than one right answer, right?
Absolutely, and that's what we're going for, because we want to be able to engage all our students, not just the ones who are always putting their hand up and answering questions.
Right.
We want to make sure all the voices in our room have equal opportunity.
Fantastic.
So when you're using a gallery walk, you're promoting reflection, that time to think, which sometimes our English language learners need more of, We certainly want to get them interacting, and our students naturally want to do this kind of thing, so it's not a tough sell with them. And of course, we also want to stretch that academic language, and in this case, we're doing that through writing and through oral production. Everything we do is always focused on those 4 areas of the benchmark, so listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You can use a gallery walk to preview some of the content at the beginning of a unit or to build that academic vocabulary. We want to activate that background knowledge in our students. So often our ELLs are lacking the language, but they still have a lot of that knowledge to share. So this is going to give them an opportunity to do that. We can also use it as a formative assessment. If I want to see how my students are absorbing the content and are they able to apply to novel situations. And of course, it's a great activity for a review of the content and the vocabulary of the unit.
Well, this is great. And so you've got 2 examples here for us, because I know one of the lovely things about going through the 99 Ideas book is like there's literally 99 ideas. And I think what's really neat is it does show us how we can do this with the low and no tech digital versions. We know this is about the Chromebook classroom. We're going to jump into that digital version, but we can also support this, like you said, flexibly. I also have some low tech options, right?
Exactly. So we'll have a few examples through this little video of some of the low tech, which for some of our younger students in Div 1 might be easier initially. And then, of course, giving you that digital option as well in learning a tool and using it with your students, which is also so flexible, that Jamboard.
Love it.
So very quickly, here's how you would set yourself up. You would assign your students to groups of 4, maybe 5 at the most. And of course, you're wanting a mixed group of students, both in ability and language skills, so that there can be some modeling. Very simply, you'll provide an image. This could be a digital image if you're using your Jamboard, or it can just be an image that you're printing off and posting directly on a piece of poster paper. It could be text, or it could be a probing question. And so from there, students can respond either directly on the poster, if you're doing it old school low tech, or with a sticky note. And as you'll see in Jamboard, we have sticky notes in Jamboard as well. So this is a nice transfer over from the low tech when we're trying to stretch them a little bit more. And then as you go through giving them some time to respond to the image, the text, or the question, after about 5 or so minutes, they would move on with their group to the next poster. So you can have as many rotations as you want or not.
Awesome.
So we have some content and language here for our first example, and this is what we're always thinking about when we're planning for our ELLs. What specific language skills do my students need? And when we're looking at those content-heavy classes like science and social, everybody in the room is trying to integrate those academic vocabulary terms. So this is an example of what I might do with a grade 6 unit of study in social studies for the Iroquois Confederacy. We are beginning this unit. We have not done any conversation yet. Here is an image I'm asking my students to respond to. I could do this modeled on the Smartboard initially so that we're getting used to the process of responding to print. And of course, when I use an open-ended question like, what do you see or what do you notice? Even our lowest students can respond and engage in the grade level curriculum.
There's no wrong answer when it's what do you notice or see. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Here's an example so that you can see these are some grade 6 students. It was a class of 31 grade 6 students, the majority of whom were English language learners. They were all 100% engaged and interactive through the duration of this activity. You can have posters around your room. You can have posters out in the hallway, spread people out. They had so much enjoyment in doing this activity and felt so successful. And what was most remarkable was our young student who had never spoken in class before volunteered information after doing this activity.
Fantastic.
Very safe way. Here's another example where you're using questions. And again, you can be pushing these out to your students on Chromebooks as well. Who is this man? What is he talking about? And if it's a challenging question, there is no rule that says it has to be done individually. You can submit a group answer. And again, you're supporting all your students. You might ask them to respond with a question. Why do the men have different hairstyles? Why aren't there men in the longhouse? Where are they? What are they doing? So there's so many different opportunities for interaction, engagement, and full engagement with everyone in your class.
I love this.
Let's say I have a classroom session. I know that working with technology can sometimes be quite daunting when you have that many students in the room trying to manage everybody. This is a very user-friendly and very intuitive way, I find, to get them to respond in similar ways. So here is a sample of what you might choose to do with a Jamboard and a gallery walk. Here is the first image that I would like the students to respond to. We've never talked about any of this before. So there are no wrong answers. So what do you think this is? Some people might say, well, it's a rock. What name would you give it? Maybe you'll have a make-believe name for it, and that's okay. But it's starting to get them thinking about this new information coming their way. All I have to do is take a sticky note. I can pick my color, and they all like to do that, and I can provide my answer. I think this is, and as you can see, I'm modeling some of that language beforehand.
Yeah.
Something used long ago. And if I want to know where my students are at, I might ask them, put your name.
That's a great
answer. And that way I can go back and call on people to explain a little bit more what we're doing. Sorry, Trish, did you have something
I'm getting excited when I'm seeing you do this because I'm like, you know what, I understand, sometimes it's like the temptation to only stick with paper is there because like you said, we can get a little scared of the technology. But when we can provide technology, we provided a digital equity for all of our students. And what's nice is you could have students, I'm just getting excited thinking, read and write for Chrome would work in this. You might have students that can only voice type on their sticky note, and now they have no limitations to be able to provide that print. So like everybody contribute without limitation and not necessarily needing an adult person beside them to have to do it for them. So that was just me sitting here going, I was getting excited seeing this happen.
Yes, and I'm so glad you brought that up because really at the end of the day, this is about that pedagogical equity and how we're drawing the voices out of all of our students regardless of what their abilities are.
I love that.
So thank you for sharing that and for reminding me of that feature that we can use. So here's another sample question, and this is more of a general question if we're trying to engage our students in that dialogue. And of course, as we know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So even if I'm in Jamboard, I can pull in these images because some of my students who are brand new to Canada won't know what a rink is. They might know what a swimming pool is, and they might not realize that we call this a park or a playground. What kind of words do we use? So another way that you can differentiate this task and get them to think specifically about what they're responding to is color code your answers with different colors of stickies. If you are voting for the park or playground, because voting is a huge piece of our Athenian democracy unit, now I'm a brand new ELL and I know what it means to vote. I'm choosing, I'm picking. I can have a very quick look at who is voting for which items, and from there we have that interactive conversation, whether it's a turn and talk or as a whole class. The options are endless in that regard.
I love this. And so just for anybody watching this thinking, how can I get this to my students? The easiest answer is Google Classroom. You can actually assign this as a material or an assignment in your Google Classroom, and you can attach it as all your students can edit the file, which means you can have up to 50 students. Let's hope none of us have 50 in our class on one Jamboard. You can also make it so that you make a copy for each student. And so they're working on individual ones. Can I show you one more trick I love about this? You know, we talk about paper. We're not having to remove it. If you ever want to capture this and you really do want this printed or to be used, just remember at any point you can click the 3 dots beside the blue share button in the top right-hand corner. And at any time you can actually click that. Go for it, Helen. If you click those 3 dots, you're going to see you can download this as a PDF. Now it is saved, all of your answers, everybody's responses. You can even save it as an image. So it's such a nice way that we still can come back to this and refer back to this. It doesn't just have to be digital at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I love that idea, because after you've done more teaching and more learning, it might be really interesting to come back to some of those original thinking of your students, so that they can see if their opinions have been changed from the learning that they've done.
Well, and even see their language growth from when they're first responding, first interacting to where they go. So I love being able to have that digital footprint.
Absolutely. Just take us back here to my slides. Oh,
ooh, we got very excited about Jamboard.
I set up with the Jamboard. That was a happy accident. Now, Trish, I often will have people say to me, especially if they have a lot of ELLs who are brand new in their room, my students can't write. Or if I'm a grade 1 teacher, my students just aren't here at this point. No problem. We've got you covered with Gallery Walk, because you can talk and draw.
Yes.
You don't have to always write. For a grade 1 objective where we're dealing with triangles, squares, and circles and rectangles and all these 2-dimensional shapes, I want them to view, discuss, and respond orally to their peers' drawings. So there are so many ways that we can differentiate this task for our students.
That's great.
I'm always wanting to focus on those awesome academic words. So whenever we have the opportunity to showcase them, that's what we want to do. I could choose to put this image on my Smartboard, which is how I would certainly start with the younger students, and we could model some of this language and some of the sentence stems and sentence frames for our students who need a little bit more support in that regard. And Trish, I would imagine that there's a way also to integrate a little bit of the students recording themselves as well.
Absolutely. That's coming up in more episodes too. Yes, we can record their voices. We can talk about videos, screen captures, you know, and I love that idea of that release of transfer. We have to model everything all together. Like maybe I'm capturing the student responses at the beginning, and we can release that transfer to the students when they do have a little bit more of that, whether that's technical ability or their print-based, you know, that foundational skills they're building too.
Absolutely, and that's certainly something that I would like to showcase too down the road, is how we can have those students showing their learning in using video format. You get so much more out of that type of reflection on learning, and like you say, being able to see that language development progress throughout the school year is really fantastic. So I might provide my students with some images. They might be digital images that I've pulled in. Some of my students might be able to select their own to an iPad and build or respond to some prompts in that format as well. So of course we're providing them with some information, and all of these realizations that come from discovering that something like a pizza can be a triangle or a circle. Or if you buy frozen pizzas like we do sometimes, it can be a
rectangle. There you go. Love that.
So I might offer some options for my students to click and drag some items on my Smartboard. It doesn't always have to be a piece of poster paper in the classroom. I might also give them some prompts which will cause them to explain why something does not belong.
Right.
Now that they've told me what does belong, they can speak to what does not belong. And again, we could have different ways to record this. They might put a strike through on their on the whiteboard, the Smartboard, or they would simply have to take the object, drag it over. Oops, sorry, went too fast. Drag it over to the other poster paper. And I know that's something that you can easily do with Google Slides.
Yeah.
So they can go in and manipulate different objects and use a sort to do it.
Google Slides or Jamboard. We could have all of these frames set up in our Jamboard for any of the things you're showing. I'm like, we could do that in Jamboard. Ooh, I could do that in Jamboard. Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. I think that's why I love Jamboard so much. It's so flexible in that regard. And of course, as we always want to do, we want to capitalize on those scholarly skills that our students have done. Like our students, we are also needing to cultivate that growth mindset. And I remind myself of that every day. And certainly the videos for me, this is a stretch for me. So hopefully you will also feel that you can take some risks and practice with your peers, your staff. And certainly if you would like any help from your friendly neighborhood ESL consultants, we are here to support. So I hope that you've enjoyed this walk through the gallery walk and that you will feel confident in giving this a go in your classroom.
I love this. And I love that, you know, as we're going through our 99 ideas book, you can see how technology can be part of any of the 99 ideas. We've got more videos coming up. So do give this a try. Both the presentation from Helen as well as her Jamboard is going to be below this video so that you can give it a try right away with your students. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, Helen. And we will see everybody in the next episode. Bye.
Take care. Bye.